For the last 50 years of Donald Trump's life, he's shown everyone who'll listen that to him, loyalty is important, but it's only a one-way street. Remember, Donald Trump is the guy that had a relationship while married, but also an affair with a porn star that he then paid off to stay quiet while his wife was pregnant with their child. I'm just discussing the man's philosophy and integrity. And yet when it comes to geopolitical foreign policy and when it comes to our standing in the world with other leaders, especially Europe, which divides us to Russia, but Donald Trump doesn't give a damn. And in this breaking story, holy smokes, you won't believe what one of our Western Europe allies basically just said to Donald. Instead of Donald being the one to go, hey, I want the engagement ring back, even though I cheated first. Take a listen to this video about where Europe is and a couple of key leaders, and I'm going to show you that breaking story in just a few seconds. Watch this.
Has Europe caught its breath yet and come to terms with new U.S. policy toward Europe?
Honestly, I wouldn't say that it has. I think there's still a lot of hope that this is just bluster from Donald Trump, just a negotiating technique meant to kind of scare them into action. Of course, that action that would need to be taken is increased defense spending, increased responsibility for Europe's own security.
So how now are various nations there reacting to a potential peace deal between the U.S. and Russia, where what President Trump wants seems very similar to Vladimir Putin's goals?
Well, they're making the argument that if the expectation is for Europe to take responsibility for defending Ukraine after whatever sort of peace deal, then Europe needs to be sitting at the table. But that message doesn't seem to be getting through to the White House. We do expect French President Emmanuel Macron and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer to go to Washington next week to pitch a plan to say, look, we are willing to commit tens of thousands of European troops to we're very dedicated to green energy here in Europe, so the lights have just gone off behind me. But
we can still see you.
They are going to the White House to make the argument that Europe will commit troops, and but in exchange, the U.S. has to make security guarantees. Again, really no signs from the Trump administration that they want to do that. Just this morning, we heard a speech from Friedrich Merz in Germany, who's expected to become the chancellor there after Sunday's election in Germany, basically saying that we probably can't count on the U.S. nuclear umbrella anymore. And so he's asking Paris and London to back up Germany with their nuclear weapons instead of having to rely on the U.S.
Just in the last 2 or 3 weeks, the European leaders have decided, fine, F off, America. We will do this on our own. And what it has led to is the bride who decides suddenly at the last minute, yeah, I'm going to skip this whole relationship and I'm just going to walk. Because look at what one of the French political representatives just said to America and Donald Trump about what they would like to take back. Watch this story. Breaking news. French parliament member wants U.S. to return Statue of Liberty. In quotes, apparently you despise it. We gave you the Statue of Liberty to you as a gift, but apparently you despise it. A French parliament member is demanding that the U.S. return the Statue of Liberty to France, who gifted it to the Americans in the 1880s. Politician Raphael Glucksmann made the comments at a recent convention of his political party, Place Publique. In quotes, we're going to say to the Americans who have chosen to side with the tyrants, to the Americans who fired researchers for demanding scientific freedom, in quotes, give us back the Statue of Liberty, he told supporters, according to Le Monde, a French newspaper. We gave it to you as a gift, but apparently you despise it. So it would be just fine here at home, he added. France presented the Statue of Liberty to America on July 4, 1884, before it was later unveiled in New York City on October 28, 1886, by then-President Grover Cleveland for the centennial of the U.S. Declaration of Independence. The statue was designed by French sculptor Auguste Bartholdi and weighs about 450,000 pounds and stands at 300 feet tall. A much smaller copy of the statue is displayed on Île de Seine, a small island on the Seine River in Paris. The Lady Liberty replica was gifted to France by the U.S. in 1889 to mark 100 years since the French Revolution. Glucksmann, a staunch supporter of Ukraine and its war against Russia, has panned President Donald Trump for pulling back support for the country in its fight against Moscow's invasion since February 2022. He also criticized Trump for cutting federal funding to U.S. colleges and research institutions, a move that led to a French government initiative aiming to bring some of them to France. Now, this may sound funny to you, it may sound humorous, but for as long as I've been alive, and perhaps as long as you have, the Statue of Liberty, at least really strongly as a metaphor, has actually meant something in this country. It doesn't mean we're perfect. It doesn't mean everyone that comes here is perfect or everyone who's born here is perfect. It means that you live your lives in a country with a particular ideology, and Donald Trump doesn't care. He will sell, as the old joke goes, he would sell out his mother to make a deal that lines his pocket. And in regards to Putin, that's what he's doing for Ukraine, on top of him desiring to be a dictator. And quite frankly, I don't blame the French for wanting the Statue of Liberty back. You guys breathe, stay healthy, keep smiling, live your lives, talk with your friends, talk with those you don't agree with. Stay frosty.